You know, like everyone knows about this. What's that book? What's that book that everyone knows about the law of attraction? The Alchemist. Yeah, that book is so weak, right? Read about real alchemy and what it's about. And you do it subconsciously too. It's actually nuts. It's not just it's not transforming lead to gold, right? It's a representation. You would be the lead, and you transform your soul into gold. Like you transform yourself, and you become the philosopher's stone, which lines up with masonry and all that stuff. And a lot of it really lines up with witchcraft. So I finished this book. Man, I forget who, some fucking genius. I finished this book last night, and man, these books, when I'm doing just walking, just go out for a walk for 3 hours, I'll listen to a whole book. And I forget the genius's name, but this is not masonry. But this book is talking about how um, thoughts become the world, right? Or thoughts form your world. And then that's how everything in my life happened. All the bad stuff too. Like, you know, it's like every time I hated myself, I brought the bad shit. And as I'm halfway into this book, the book says, by the way, do not study occult, witchcraft, or theosophy. You will be successful. It's kind of like a ancient self-help book, but it says you'll be successful without going there. It's not an ancient book. It's like newer, but talks about all that old stuff too. And I'm like, wow, even a non-Masonic book is talking about like witchcraft and all that shit. And just 2 years ago, I didn't even believe in none of this shit. I was like, witchcraft? Are you fucking joking me? But check this out. Right, I take notes because I'm a fucking genius. What is witchcraft? Someone give me the definition on Google. This is gonna blow your mind. Hold on. Anyways, I was talking about witchcraft, right? Okay, so if you're wondering why this fucking Jack Chad beautiful guy like me is into like witchcraft, which is like Harry Potter gay stuff, it's not like I grew up with Harry Potter. I actually never watched Harry Potter. I never read it. I don't know anything about it. I'm not into that stuff. I'm not into witchcraft. I'm not into witches. I'm not into fantasy, or not like that. But why I'm into it, why I've finished so many books on it, is because it kept showing. I kept seeing it in politicians' homes. And in my head, I'm thinking, these are some powerful people. Why do they all have this thing, this witchcraft thing connected to them? Like, why? And how does Destiny and, let's say, Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro, how come none of them talk about the witchcraft part of politics? They like to talk about it for Hollywood, which is like, oh, Hollywood. It's kind of stupid. So I'm like, all right, let's Google. Let me show you something crazy. Anyways, hold on. The books I read are useful for me, and you know, if I could explain it to you guys, if I could remember all of it, I have to be triggered to remember all of it, but they are useful, right? Most of what Freemasons and these people talk about is useful knowledge, right? Yes, Manny P. Hall and stuff. But, man, you get so much reading done when you are guided correctly. So I didn't have someone telling me what books to research. So I said, you know, I'm not going to lie, men love power, right? When you think about why you want money, why you've ever wanted real money in your life, it's like a status and power thing. And for me, it's power, like move out of my way type energy, you know? So I was like, okay, these are the most powerful. Who are the most powerful people in history? And what the fuck do they talk about in their books? So I started reading these books, and they kept mentioning witchcraft, but it wouldn't be like, it would be like 10% of the book would be witchcraft. Most of it would be psychic initiation, or soul architecture. Yeah, trance-like states and weird kind of shit like that. So anyways, this is all I read. I'm pretty sure everything involving Manny P. Hall I've read, and like 3 or 4 times, because so easy to read Manny P. Hall or listen to. Manny P. Hall, Blavatsky for theosophy and all that satanic garbage. Okay, so Manny P. Hall, over 25 fucking books, 3-4 times each I've read them, and the authors are Manny P. Hall, the Blavatsky bitch, I forget her name, the theosophy lady, Albert Pike, the Bible, yeah, a lot last year. Actually, you know what? These are good starting points, because it'll take you months. It'll take you months to finish most of these. But anyways, they all talk about the same stuff, kind of. They all talk about ancient mystery schools, hermetic practices, and how there's 2 paths. You know that duality, that black and white checkerboard that is in Freemasonry? That's their gods. So here, I wrote a note here. Look, I write notes. And because I want to know what the fucking billionaire elites actually, because I know they don't go to church. Also, another thing, if I'm looking like a tinfoil retard to you, Nancy Pelosi hired an exorcist to come work on her home, because she reads Manny P. Hall, and Manny P. Hall says there's psychic rays that can come out of someone's fucking mind and kill another person. Like, someone can actually hex you. Like, if you constantly have bad luck, someone's fucking with you maybe. And he also talks about how the most dangerous thing you can, the thing people suffer from most is not the most evil. It's creating demons by accident, right? So if you're a very negative person, you create demons and then they rule over you. But here, hold on, look at this shit. Ancients claimed that there was a hierarchy of demons that incarnated through the sins of man. So these demons only exist in more than a Carl Jung archetype form. They're like forces, and basically this is the way they explain it. Think of a human and a river of infinite impulses going through the human, right? A river of infinite impulses are going through the human. The more impulses the human denies, the closer he is to achieving purity, right? So abstaining from sex and blah, 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 all does great things for the soul. All right, let's keep going. Hold on. Ancients claimed that there was a hierarchy of demons that incarnated through the sins of man. It's all man's fault. On the lower planes of the astral world, that's that lower vibration, right? These are strange creatures. Some are like animals. Few are debased human beings. But most are lizards, snakes, and other reptiles. But they're in the invisible world. You can't see them. But we talk about like, reptilian overlord and serpent worship, Ophites, Canaanites in the Gnostic Christian days. All right. The power of black magic is to direct these sin manifestations and soulless beings. So the black magician directs his or other people's sins that manifest these soulless beings, right? Reptilian, subhuman, whatever the fuck. And he uses them to do his bidding. But every single time, he's conquered by his own slaves. So this is actually really interesting that these geniuses, right? These are considered, Manny P. Hall is considered a genius, right? Albert Pike spoke 16 fucking languages. And he was like a racist Confederate. He didn't like black people, but he loved Native Americans and would defend them. and it's because he liked their shaman practices that he want to learn from. But 16 fucking languages, and if you've read his books, it's, bro, he has a 500-page book that's just poetry. You know how people have struggled with like a 15-bar haiku or whatever the fuck it's called? He does 500 pages of poetry. Like, there's never be a break. And it's kind of intense to read. Like, it's too much to read, actually. But clearly that guy's not human. How the fuck do you know 16 languages and write, like, all these books and stuff? And Albert Pike is, like, noted to have wrote a letter predicting in his dream, because these guys who are contacted by Luciferian forces, they have visions. Whether day or night, they have visions. But he had a dream, and he predicted World War I and World War II and all that, just like Nostradamus and those kind of figures. And but some people say that's fake. Who knows? Anyways, hold on. Look at this. Okay, so the power of the Black Magician is to direct the sin manifestations of soulless beings. This is Manny P. Hall, I'm pretty sure. Reptilian or subhuman. Those black magicians of chain. I wrote this note and it doesn't make sense. Those black magicians of chain. No, those black magicians that have put chains on these demons always fall victim to their own reptilian slaves. And by reptilian, I guess they just mean beast-like. Like, it's a beastly energy, right? And really, that's what human is, right? You're a beastly guy watching porn all day, and you have to overcome that and, go into the spirit. The Black Magician launches these invisible demons in the world through his own astral body. Listen to this, okay? Here's the soul contract, okay? This took me years to find out, okay? Because when you read this, you have to like compare it to other literature and see if it makes sense. So I'm positive he's talking about soul contract here. He says the Black Magician launches these invisible demons into the world through his own astral body in exchange for powers these demons will give him. Now, who believes in that? Because there's been Rosicrucians who talked about conjuring up certain archetypes and having visions and hallucinogenic states where when they come out of it, or sometimes during it, the man who was never instructed by an artist becomes a Da Vinci level painter and fucking just does a Mona Lisa when he's never painted before. And it's the demon working through him. And this really talks about choosing the immortal soul with God, or mortal glory, meaning you're an amazing artist and rich and famous in the mortal world. Like, you have a good life here. You're Will Smith of Earth. The White Magician dedicates his soul to the immortal light. The Black Magician sells his for immortal glory. So it's the left hand, right hand paths. Just like witchcraft. Why are all these Masonic practices identical to witchcraft? And why don't they just call it witchcraft? Why is the initiation like witchcraft? Why is everything they do? So here I have a timestamp of Satan and Lucifer being a Mason's largest forces and powers. He says they aren't evil. So they say duality, yin and yang, solar, S-O-L, which is soul, and Luna, right? Male, female. This is the duality that they work in. Alchemists work here. Witchcraft is more one-sided, and Masonry is more about the light. Apollo, 66th floor of Donald Trump's home. Trump had a Kabbalah teacher. Every politician, everyone who makes millions and millions of dollars have a Kabbalah bracelet. Search up Lionel Messi. Hollywood stars. This is not a conspiracy, and it's very close to witchcraft. But again, it's either the sun or the moon, meaning the moon is satanic. It's the coldest thing. if the sun were to disappear today, the man in this book says would crystallize, and the man would fall into the into be a being of just matter. And if the moon were to disappear, then the man would burn up and become his astral flame, the soul, right? So they say you need both, and which is interesting because in Masonry, Satan and Lucifer are opposite forces. So a lot of Christians say it's the same thing, but what the fuck do Christians know? They can't even decipher their own fucking book. I'm pretty sure they are different forces because think about it. Their loving force is Lucifer, right? Oh, peace, inclusivity, we're all liberals, blah, blah, blah. That's Luciferian, right? It comes through a broken cross that's upside down, right? Search up the peace symbol from the 1960s sexual revolution. That's a Luciferian revolution. A satanic revolution would be a feminine one and not masculine, and a Luciferian would be masculine. That's the difference in Masonry. So when they say there's good and evil, what they're really hinting at is they're both evil. To me, that was mind-blowing, and I figured this out. I remember I did a stream about this. This is how I know I'm a genius. I did a stream about this like 6 months ago, and I said, wait, there can be no good without evil? Why do they want us to believe that? Why does everyone who tries to sound smart say, you can't have light without darkness? Of course you can have good without evil. That's what God is. It would be ultimate goodness, the good. Like Plato said. But the human works with these two hands, the left hand and the right hand, the solar and the lunar. And it's funny that these people print money. Like they have the power to, they're in the Federal Reserve, they're in the Treasury, they're in Hollywood, definitely in politics, and very few of them are satanic. Most of them are like Luciferians. The satanic ones are a lot more forceful, like Marina Abramovich and stuff, and that comes from the Masonic apron. So Masonic apron is 4 sides. It is the pentagram star, the regular star, and one of the flaps points downwards. And that what the apron in Masonry is, why it's so important, is it's showing an illuminated figure, meaning someone who's achieved purity. They don't use their penis, right? That's why it's covering their genitalia. That's why it's an Egyptian thing, right? The Masonic apron. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And why there's an eyeball on the apron is that's the life force, generative principle, the sperm. That is covered by the purity of the apron, right? Is the eyeball winking at you saying, hey, some of us Masons are not pure. Some of us do sex magic. And remember, blood magic bends space, time, and the universe, right? They say, you sacrifice children and you get all the worldly riches. Manny P. Hall talked about this. Geniuses wrote about this. Destiny didn't write about this. Destiny doesn't know shit. Destiny thinks there's a conspiracy theory. Why would billionaire geniuses write about this shit? So, and what is sperm, right? Sperm, again, focus. It's the serpent and the egg. Your girlfriend, your bitch, she's the egg. And you're the serpent snake. You sin and come inside of her. Focus. It's again biblical. Right? But what is sperm? It's blood plasma. So it is a blood magic ritual when you cut a girl's face. And a lot of people tune out of my stream here because they go, dude, you've ruined sex for me. And sometimes I double think. And dude, sex opens up portals. Okay? All your problems come from having casual sex and all that. And a lot of you guys are like, oh, John, like, how do you like leave it alone and shit? Dude, you're not a horny guy. You've just been watching porn since you were 12. If you take a break from porn for like a month, maybe 2 months, and try and click on it, you'll kind of laugh and be like, whoa, what the fuck was I into? You'll snap out of it. Right now, you would never believe me because you're like deep down there and addicted. But it's 2023, and if you're still watching porn, you gotta ask yourself, how's your life going, bro? And you're doing weird shit. You're in your room covered in cum. That is fucking pathetic. And yeah, a lot of people are like, well, John, you're just not a horny guy. Bro, I had 18 to 19 times human testosterone in me injected at one point in my life, and I still didn't fuck the ugly chicks. Everyone on trend fucks. People on trend go gay. Most people who go gay are on steroids or cocaine. I was on all that, and I didn't even fuck ugly chicks, right? I still fucked. The worst I did was like a 7. And I was shaking horny. I was like, oh. So people are like, oh, you're just not a horny guy, John. That's why you're more pure. No. I was more pure than you when I was on gear. But I'm not going to lie. I was jacking off like 8 times a day on gear. It was weird. It was like, imagine more than high school days. Yeah. 8, 9 times a day. Puberty was fiery for me though. I'll never say gear was, obviously it's worse than puberty, but it kind of makes puberty look overpowered because you're like, oh, it's natural, it's not synthetic, and it keeps up with gear. But anyways, yeah, I always was like paranoid about who I sleep with and shit like that. Like I made a ton of mistakes. I'm not like a pure guy, but I'm so pure compared to the fucking demons flowing through my blood at that time. That were trying to get me to do very impulsive, stupid things. So we saw some Arabs doing black magic, and they got caught by. Elmi showed us this video. It had 40,000 views on YouTube, and it was these Arabs who were practicing. One dude. No, it was a group of Arabs practicing black magic, and they put a sword in the guy's stomach, like one of those needle swords. And they take it out, then they put it through his mouth, and they're not acting like weird cannibals and stuff. They're just doing a ritual, they're acting very normal. And so I'm watching this, and I take it off the screen because I'm like, I'm not showing my chat this. And the guy freezes because he has like, I guess, jinns inside of him and demons. So he freezes like this because the sword's in him. And the hole that they pierced in his stomach leaked feces and bile and vomit. And the elder of the group, the Arab practicing black magic, he grabs a bit of it and he eats it. And it's not like he was hungry and cannibalistic. He just a piece. And he grabbed a little more, and only the leader ate it. And it's one of those like, that is this really on YouTube? Like, am I? Because I know normally I would puke to something like that, but I didn't puke because it was on YouTube. So I was like, I don't even believe this. What the fuck did I just see? And then I'm pretty sure they got arrested and all that. But all their rituals they do, you see the Ukrainian, and I'm not saying the Russians don't do it, right? I could see Wagner doing rituals like this, just like Hitler and them did it, and the Ukrainian Azov battalion does it. They all do this black magic before they go to war, where it's something to do with dirt and earth, blood, air, earth, water, and fire, right? Like the fucking Avatar. And now look at this. In this book, it talks about air is the body. The air body gives power of thought. So all the mental plane is air. We breathe it. The mental plane is air. Fire body gives the power of motion and emotion. So the orgasm. There's an astral fire in you. So when you get angry, you get hot. So air is the mental plane. The motion and emotion is the fire body, right? That is the emotional aura, right? These are the 4 auras of the human. And then the water body gives the power of reproduction and growth. That was interesting to me. So I'm like, whoa, the water body is semen and all that stuff. I was like, huh, circulatory system, all that. That's kind of crazy. And this guy talks about in magic, there's karmic learning of 800 earthly lives. Manny P. Hall talks about this, and a lot of people believed in this stuff. And the definition of magic, according to Manny P. Hall, is art of manipulating unseen forces of nature. Unseen forces of nature, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this guy's way more famous than Destiny. Why should I write him off as a kook? Like, he's one of the most famous authors of all time. He says, a magician is one who can juggle the 4 elemental bodies, and an alchemist transforms through them, right? A magician is one who is capable of consciously molding the substances of matter and the 3.5 worlds of material substance. The 2 demons of creation are Satan and Lucifer, or according to Greeks, Mars and Venus. That's really interesting. Okay. Which that one actually confused me, because Mercury is Hermes, and he's sometimes seen as the light bringer. Venus is seen as the morning star, Lucifer. And this one's talking about Mars, right? The pagan god of war, right? And Venus, which is the fertility goddess. So this one's kind of confusing to me, actually. Okay, let's keep going. One in the chat to keep going. Black magic versus Christ consciousness, Brahmic splendor, universal awareness, whatever you want to call it, which is well-being and gratitude and prayers of the old. That is the state the Mason tries to awaken. And the black magician is not going inward. He is selfish, and he's all for his passions, and he sees himself as God. But ultimately, they're always destroyed by their own magic manipulation, right? And even Manny Hall, who talks about the seething powers of Lucifer, bro, this guy got murdered. Like, that's how he died. So I wonder how good of a guy he was, because he said, don't practice any of this shit. So he talks about Lucifer, love and peace, satanic forces, 2 paths. Well, that's what I got from that. He didn't actually talk about that part. Definition of alchemy is symbolic representation of the entire process of universal activity. So let me get this straight. Alchemy is the symbolic representation, okay, so we draw it on a board, just symbols, of the entire process of universal activity. Proof of immortality is in The Alchemist. Okay, so there's some alchemists who lived like 400 fucking years. He talks about that too. Psychic power of soul achieved by Platonic mystics, right? We study Plato and all those guys. Apparently they had some psychic knowledge. Rocks and stars all have invisible meanings, meaning even a stone has a vibration and an invisible meaning to it that you can't see. You have to unveil it. And when we learn how to read signs and symbols, this stuff will be easier to us. But they don't teach us. They teach us A, B, and C and all that stupid shit. Okay, alchemists / Rosicrucians. Manny P. Hall doesn't talk about this, but I made the connection. Okay, because I don't want to like misquote the guy, because then people will be like, Zherka's making up shit. Okay, so alchemists believe the same thing as Rosicrucians, but he's talking about alchemists only. Must purify the body and negate all living powers flowing through it. So I think he's talking about sexuality here, right? That is living power flowing through you. Must purify the body and negate all living powers flowing through it. All the ancient mystics, Gnostics, sages, saints, stop. They practiced no nut, and they stopped. They never had sex and purified their body. So they were alchemists and achieved new states of consciousness. Um, Once pure, this self-meditation enhances energy of emotion to divine, the fire of life, magnetic field. Okay, weird. Then he talks about there are 7 chakras, 7 seals of revelation. Also, there are 7 metals of alchemical transmutation. The alchemist is looking to quiet his nature and achieve peace of mind. Right? Remember, a lot of Freemasons say they're about this path, but they end up doing rituals instead. The alchemist is looking to quiet his nature and achieve peace of mind, not a psychic revelation. So I guess that would be devilish and satanic. He's not looking for a psychic revelation, but a lot of people said psychic revelations can mean God is talking to you, which I don't know about that. 7 seals of revelation are also the vital organs. You have 7 vital organs that they don't talk to you about anymore. Just like Rosicrucians, alchemists must be in tune with these chakras and receive this heart energy up the spinal ladder to the cave of Brahma. So that's what Manny P.L. talks about, but that's not a quote. That's how I interpret it. And it is accurate. Like, you go ask any scholar what I just said, they'd say, oh yeah, Zherka is accurate. Even though Manny P. Hall said it differently, I softened it up so it's easier to digest. But that's exactly what he meant. And I promise you, it doesn't have to be a perfect quote from him, but I bet I could find a quote that close to that one. Lunar works for maintenance of body, right? Just like your girlfriend, she maintains you. You know, you feel loved, blah blah blah. So that's what the moon is, and the peace of the flesh. Okay, and remember, the sun, right? Every human is like a solar capsule, right? Of sunlight that you hold even when you're sleeping, and that's that masculine and active force, and the moon is passive. Just like and yo, here's I know I'm going fucking genius mode, right? So as I'm finishing this book, it hits me. I'm like, wait a minute. If the opposite of spirit is matter, and this is not the genius part, this is like Plato, I'm just stealing right now. If the opposite of spirit is matter, and spirit is just inverted matter, right? I was thinking to myself, that makes a lot of sense of why the moon is feminine, because the moon is matter and passive. You can see the moon, you can see fucking the designs on the moon, everything, but you can't see the sun. You look at it and you're like, I can't see it. It's exactly spirit. You can't see spirit, invisible world, right? And to me, I was like reading the book and I'm like, holy shit, that makes a lot of sense. So when I made that connection, I'm like, yo, I'm actually a fucking genius. It's so weird to me how like geniuses are never spoken about in the mainstream. Like, they won't talk about Manny P. Hall, but they talk about Jordan Peterson. I'm like, dude, this guy's talking about electromagnetic auras in the human body, and that the only time you get sick is when you lie, cheat, steal, do bad things, and your aura gets weak. Which, yeah, there's like a universal principle that if you're a bad person, you just become weaker to the same evil you're doing in the world to happen to you. Not like karma of like afterlife, but karma during your life. Human soul must ascend 7 spheres, okay? So just like Jewish people with their 7 candles, for Hanukkah or whatever, to arrive back to God, 7 heavens, 7 planets of antiquity, wandering stars. The Holy Bible, square, and compass are the greatest lights in Masonry. Okay, so this is a really good. This is why people say the Bible is real, because the most evil guys, the Masons, they need it to invert its spiritually charged energy. Three sublime lights of masonry are the sun, moon, and the master of the lodge, which is to them the eye of Horus, which is usually Osiris. Sun is generative power of deity. So again, solar worship, sun worship. I've been talking about this for so long. Most of you guys are heliocentrists, so you guys are already thinking you revolve around the sun, you're going to hell. A lot of you guys are going to hell, not going to lie. Just putting that out there. God is the source of its light, right? So generative power of deity. That's why they say the sun spews the sperm onto the womb of the earth, right? The sun rays. God is the source of its light, and I'm just tripping because there's this girl that you never suspect she watches these streams, but she said her mom loves my streams, and I'm like, I haven't done normal streams in so long. What the fuck? Your mom watches this stuff? You know, it's like mind blowing. It's like, I gotta stop talking about nasty stuff because, you know, I gotta stop talking about, no, there's like 4 moms who watch my channel, and I thought it was for my old content, but I'm talking about like recently they told me. Well, months ago they told me, one recent. That's why I don't want to talk about fapping and stuff like that. I'm like, wow. It's making me look crazy. God is the source of its light. Moon represents passive capacity to produce in nature. Horus, Osiris, and Isis, right? Again, look in the Vatican, right? Search up the Jesuit order and you'll see what I'm talking about. Horus, Osiris, and Isis. Vatican, Israel, or Mercury, Sun, and Moon. Okay, so these are their trinity. The blazing star that was Anubis or Sirius, as we call it, but then in Masonry became Horus, which is just Hermes, Apollo, Lucifer. It's all the same sun deity. And Osiris is the first. So Osiris, Horus, Ra, different times of the day until the sun fucking sets. But yeah. Now look at this. Every billionaire believes in this shit. Even Donald Trump, my guy Trump, on the 66, that's a Masonic number. Well, that's a biblical number. 6 is east, south, west, north, right? Which is also like fire, earth, water, air. And as above, so below. So the 6 dimensions of reality, the material world, the devil's world. Even Donald Trump on the 66th floor, Google it. It's just a golden room of Apollo sun worship. So every time I want to let go of this as just like crazy schizo posting, every time I want to say this just schizo posting, someone will tell me, hey, look at Trump's room, do this. And it'll blow my fucking mind. Because I'm like, dude, I don't do conspiracy, bro. I do the truth, bitch. You want to explain what the fuck that room is? But Trump is the good guy. Rosicrucians and Masons all talk about giants living with mankind, and they also talk about Atlantis, which I don't even want to fucking research, but every genius throughout history talks about Atlanteans, and they were the Egyptians, and blah, blah, blah. I don't research that part because I'm like, it's getting fucking ridiculous, bro. But the mitochondrial Eve, Adam, and Eve. Where does thought and reason come from? Is it chemicals? No. A lot of people say it's supercharged by lucifuge. This one's Plato. What happens after death, rebirth? So he believed that a lot of Gnostics back then believed that you could be, if you fail, you get reborn as a woman, then animal, then plant, then mineral. They talked about that. Let me see. Are you enjoying yourself, chat? Okay. This took a year for me to read and compile. It's going to be all in a video with pictures, so it makes more sense. But every time I share this online, someone goes, hey, you missed something, and I add. So Albert Pike says, there is no book so little understood as the Bible and the Zohar, right? Which is like a poetic Jewish mysticism book. Masonry jealously conceals it and misguides people on purpose. He also said that. Okay, but conceals what? Right? Remember, these people are pet. This one's Trinity explained, detailed in gold. Demonic Trinity. Remphan. The Star of Remphan is... Does anyone know what the Star of Remphan is? I know a lot of conspiracy guys are going to say what I think they're going to say. But if you've read anything of Albert Pike's... Well, he only mentions it, I think, once. But Albert Pike explains what the Star of Remphan is, which every YouTube channel tries to explain it. They try to understand the Bible. Go ask the bad guys. Go ask the fucking elites what the Star of Remphan is. Go search for it in their scrolls. They'll tell you what it is. So, and you are right that it's unification of masculine and feminine, but I'm asking you, where does it come from? Which masculine and feminine would be as above, so below. The Star of Remphan, according to Albert Pike, is the Sumerian star. And a Jewish star. The true name of Yahweh, Satan explained, and light, gold, and Lucifer. Plato, diamond, God take. Oh, this is diamond tier. I put diamond tier, gold tier, silver tier, and bronze tier depending on how important the information or the notes are. But this is all diamond tier. This is like all good shit. Okay. This is a book. All right, so another author would be Plato. I've been reading a lot of Plato, and there's something calming about these audiobooks, man. Like ever since I quit all music, hip hop, EDM, everything, wow, life is so much better. You think life sucks without music, but it still seeps in there at the mall, and you still sometimes at the gym, but yeah. I can't follow audiobooks. I have to read the words. Believe it or not, you learn way better if you read the words instead of audio. Like, you become genius level if you read it. But I'm the opposite. I need to hear it. I need to go for a walk, and then I need to write it down. God made the world of matter, soul, intellect. Plato's thought on father, primitive matter, mother. So mother would be primitive, the matter, materialistic world. Cosmos, the sun, and the Indian Trinity. Mysteries of church initiations, secret teachings, the Ark, right? The Ark of the Covenant is like really hard. That's, man, I took a break from that one. That one was really hard to understand through these guys' point of view. And here's another picture. The fuck am I doing? And then there's more notes on top. This is so dorky. So, Manny P. Hall, Aleister Crowley, Plato, Carl Jung is all I read about. The least is Aleister Crowley, especially because a lot of fucked up shit happened when I went deeper in that. The weird shit starts happening to you, dude. And you know, I'm really glad that the world is affected by thoughts, prayer, and meditation. Because, man, when I was a materialist, there was this thing called depression, and it was real. And now I realize how gay depression is. Like, depression is illness of the illness of spirituality. It has nothing to do with the chemicals in my head. I wish my grade school or high school teachers could see what I'm like now, right? Because everyone would be like, what happens if you get some money in your life, you know? Are you going to party, Zherka? Are you going to do this? As soon as the money calmed me down a bit, I started reading and becoming like old man. I'm like a sage, bro. I'm like an old man. And I know what I'm reading is not going to be useless. Because remember I told you guys I'm going to ease up on reading this kind of shit and focus more on the present and the task at hand. Well, I can't let go of it, dude. Like as soon as I said that to you guys, the next day, I think I finished like 4 books in one day, and did a couple of them twice. I'm not even bragging. They're interesting books. If they're interesting, it's not hard at all. And name them. I'll never remember the names, but they're all Manny P. Hall. So not like Secret Ages or blah blah blah, like the deeper stuff. Oh, one of them I should have posted on the Discord. I think I did. Um, Magic, something magic. That one was fucking mind blowing. I talked about a bit of that today, but I'm this close to doing audiobook streams. Like I'm about to become an old man, and I need gifted subs. Like my channel has died since I devoted myself to books, bro. So like I know if I package it up for a YouTube video, I can do good views, but it's not sustainable. I still need to focus on my regular stuff too. Man, if I had like $2 million, I'd just disappear and fucking read until I. Although one book I read today, when it's like 2.5 hours audiobook, it said if you read enough of this stuff, you get too tempted. Like I'm so not tempted to do a blood magic ritual, but I do think about it. Like I think about, you know what I'm saying? Like I think because each one of these books say it's so fucking easy to get what you want through one of these rituals. Each one of these books they talk about don't do it, and I'm thinking to myself like the Azov Battalion does this, the Wagner Group does this, the Nazis used to do this, high levels of CIA Jesuits, which are all CIA 80% are Jesuits, do it. Every one of them do it. I'll never do it, but I do think I'm like. Remember that girl on my podcast who said, all right, guys, I want to tell you something. Don't fuck up your life when I tell you this. But we had a girl on my podcast who said she would wish for millions of dollars, like wish fulfillment, as she's masturbating. I forget the bitch's name. Some LA fucking retard bitch, right? And I laughed, and I'm like, I'll take it serious because I know the truth is stranger than fiction, and there's some truth to that if she read that somewhere. LA bitches know a lot about Wicca and witchcraft, but a lot of it is like commercialized. And then it came up on these books I read. I forgot which book, but it said like if you focus on what you want as you're orgasming, don't do it. I don't do it. I've never done it once. But when it came up in the books, I was like, damn, that dumb blonde said that. What the fuck? That blew me away. Next is this chapter is about spirit and matter are just different degrees at which people vibrate. I don't believe that. Hermeticists transmute alchemic process of lead to gold, light. Right, gold would be the sun, and in this would be Lucifer's gnosis and knowledge. And then it says polarity chapter is boring, please skip this. Okay, I'm going to skip this. Next it says, oh, this is a good one. Ophites are people who thought Jesus was the serpent. So Gnostic Christians. Ophite were serpent worshippers, just like the Knights of Templar, that think serpent blessed Adam and Eve with gnosis. Alchemy, to turn gold, is to turn to light inward. Golden snakes were seen as idols to pagans and star worshippers, symbols of divinity. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. I don't pretend to know everything. This one's about necromancy, blood sacrifice. So anyone who cuts their wrist or does any of that self-harm stuff, that's a blood magic ritual. And it's going to open portals, demons, and bad things. Unless you stop. If you stop, in this book, I think it was Manny P. Hall, he says, one prayer of gratitude is stronger than all devils on earth. That doesn't mean a year of prayer, just one prayer. It could be even like bedtime prayer.